Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hawk Blogger Mornings. I am Brian Nemhauser. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places. Ad hoc blogger. And today, hopefully, you can see and hear me in the nation's capital. I'm in DC. I have a late flight tonight. And you know what? I'm pretty happy to spend the day here on what's going to be a beautiful, beautiful Monday, walking the nation's capital. This is where I went to school for college, American University, and to have a chance to kind of hang out here, I'm all good. So I'm out here on the mall. Behind me, you can see the Washington Monument right there, looking beautiful. And I'm staring at the at the Capitol Dome down at the other end. And we've got a fun situation to talk about with your Seahawks. You know, last night is a bit of a dream. Yesterday was a crazy day. I I had a nice offer from Jason, a listener, to go play golf at the Army Navy Country Club, where I got this hat. And between the hat and the mustache, I actually look like I might be in the military. I don't know, I might cosplaying a military guy, but I'm not. And so that was 4:30 a.m. Pacific time. It was a great time going out there and golfing. Beautiful weather, beautiful fall foliage. Then switching hotels, then watching the early slate of games, then getting to the stadium and watching all that, doing the post game show. I think I got back to my hotel maybe around 2 a.m. And that was with me leaving a little bit early, to be honest. So, yeah, now I'm all checked out of my hotel and let loose on the city. And I think, I just finished writing and publishing my morning after column on hawkblogger.com. And sometimes I get, I feel different ways, different things that strike me. That's part of why I wait till the next day to write about the game instead of always just talking about it right away. And the thing that's really struck me about this team is just how different it is from the other teams that have started to make their climb or made their climb to being teams of note in Seahawks history. And it also was grabbing my attention thinking about, now I'm also a Mariners fan, and I know not everybody is, but even the Blue Jays fans probably can relate to this. But like, there's a lot of folks that just have lived in the history of what happened for the Mariners in 95 and 2001 and the iconic players that were part of those teams. And it gets old just always talking about the past, right? Like you don't want to be the 49ers. You don't want to be sitting here talking about how great of a franchise you are and having to convince everybody with things that happened before most of the people that are fans right now were even born. And what happened with the Mariners this year is they started making new memories and taking attention forward into the present and giving you new icons to follow and to love and to cheer for. And that's what I feel like's happening with this team. It is a team that really reflects its coach and its general manager to some extent. It's unassuming. It is humble, hardworking, physical, intense, and excellent. I mean, it is a truly excellent team. There are going to be people that say, the Commanders aren't that good. And of course they won. And the Commanders were missing Terry McLaurin. And there's always those people in these situations. In 2013, I dealt is the wrong word. I talked to people who had that opinion of like, well, have they really done it? Can they beat the 49ers? Can they do this? Can they do that? And it's hard to appreciate these situations while you go through them. And one of the things I try to do for myself and for the people that tune in and or read my stuff is keep us as much in the moment as possible to just appreciate what's going on. Because think about the last 15 years of being a Seahawks fan. And for 2010 and 2011, there were some high points for sure, but it was pretty forgettable in general relative to the rest of the NFL. Had some really, really high points in 12 and 13 and 14. And since then, it's been over a decade of mediocrity, really, and barely any playoff wins. And the Seahawks haven't been to a conference championship since 2014. And you take those things for granted that they're just going to come back, but they don't. And you take for granted to some extent that they're going to happen, but they don't. And so many things have to align. And this season is halfway through. They haven't really done anything yet. Like, I'm not ahead of this at all. But what is happening is that this team is checking a lot of boxes of what they need to do and demonstrate on all sides, all phases of the game, to be a team that can do something really, really special this season. Not next season, not 2 seasons from now, this season. And one of those things that you do is when you play a team that you should beat, that you are clearly more talented than, that you have clear advantages over, that you beat them. And that you not only beat them, but you beat them convincingly. The reason point differential matters is not because you're expected to beat the Los Angeles Rams by 40 points to prove that you're a good team. Point differential matters because you prove that you are different than the bottom dwellers. You prove that you are different than the middle class. And I would put the Commanders in the middle class. I wouldn't even call them a bottom dweller, although they would probably feel that way the rest of the season, given what's going on with Jaden Daniels. But what the Seahawks did to the Saints, they did something that pretty much no one else has been able to do to the Saints. The Rams have a higher point differential by like 1 point than the Seahawks. And that's on the back of them doing something to the Jaguars that the Seahawks didn't do to the Jaguars, even though the Seahawks should have done that to the Jaguars. So that is where point differential really shows that you are part of the elite. And then doing it in prime time, doing it when all eyes are on you, doing it when you're getting interviewed, when you're getting attention, that's a step. Then doing it after you've started to get attention and people are talking about you as maybe a contender and a team to watch, which is, I think, the stage that the Seahawks were in before last night. And now the next step is going to be, man, every outlet is going to be talking about the Seahawks as a Super Bowl team. There's going to be a number of people that think they're making a big statement by saying, I think the Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl, even though that's not honestly that outlandish of a statement. And you've got now 2 straight division games coming up. There's no rest. You don't get to just relax. It is relentless. It is unending. And they now have 2 division games, one at home against the Cardinals. We're going to see the Cardinals tonight. And it is a benefit, I think, that once again, the Seahawks will play a team that'll be coming off a short week. They played the Commanders coming off a Monday night game. They played the Jaguars coming off a Monday night game. And they're going to play Arizona, who's going to be coming off a Monday night game. So you get a little bit of a rest advantage, especially nice that you're coming home from a cross-country trip and you get a little bit extra rest than the team you're going to face. And so that Cardinals game, they should beat them. I haven't done my tail of the tape. We'll see where things stand after the Cardinals Monday Night Football game tonight. But I don't have to go deep on that team to know that the Seahawks should beat them. If they do that, they will be 7-2, and the Rams and 49ers face each other this next week. I'm going to assume the Rams win that one. And you're going to have 2 7-2 teams that are tied for the division lead. And technically the Seahawks are ahead on tiebreakers right now. You are going to have 2 teams that are currently number 1 and number 2 in DVOA in the NFL. So by DVOA, the 2 best teams in the NFL both reside in the NFC West. And they're going to collide down in LA. And that's really the next step. I think the next step is beating a team that is really, really good, maybe as good as you, maybe better than you. You don't know yet. Like, the question remains. But being able to go into that stadium and play the style of play that you have now mastered for, what is it, 8 weeks, 9 if you include the bye, but 8 weeks of football, that probably, I would say, the offense has been doing it for 7 weeks because they really flubbed that first week. But the defense has pretty much been what it should be every game of the season, other than the Bucks game, which was pretty explainable from a injury standpoint. So this is all building. It just starts to build, and it's like Jenga, or rock climbing, whatever you want to kind of analogize it to, where the stakes get higher. The higher you get, the more pain can come from the fall, and the more visible you are when you fall. So that's where this team, that's very young, including the coach, who's never really been through this in the same way. He's observed it, but he's never been a head coach that's gone through this, to know how to handle these moments. And even Sean McVay, the great Sean McVay, he did so poorly in his first trip to the Super Bowl, he almost retired. Like, he almost gave up. And I'm not saying Mike Macdonald is wired like Sean McVay at all, but the point is that it ain't easy. You're going to have more injuries to deal with. We'll find out what's going on with Ernest Jones. I'll give you a quick update there in a second. Nothing meaningful, but I'll give you what we have. You're going to have guys coming back. Potentially, you're going to have trades made. You're going to have losses, maybe. You're going to have bad moments and all sorts of things. You could have off-field stuff, like guys start to feel themselves, and all of a sudden curfew seems like a suggestion, not a rule. And, you're going to have more friends and family that are asking for tickets and showering you with praise and trying to get you to do, like, it just is human nature. Like, it tracks all of those distractions like a honeypot. So all those challenges are ahead. None of them are simple, but the Seahawks have earned the right to start preparing. It's like being someone who's planning to climb Everest. You have done all this training to get ready, and then you're doing the ascent, and it's a whole different game, and all the things you thought you knew get challenged. So I'm very much struck by that this team is going through that transition right now, and they're doing it in a way that I think is very different than the other teams that the Seahawks have had that have jumped up into the national spotlight. This team is defined by being just a complete collection of players that have been either passed over, underestimated, overlooked, unfairly limited. And you can go through all the best players that it fits that. You can talk about Sam Darnold. That's the easy one, right? Like, everybody knows that story by now. But JSN wasn't picked till 20th pick in the draft. Even his biggest proponents, for the most part, said this guy's a slot receiver. He's probably going to be most valuable in the short to intermediate and as a possession player and a third down target. He's the best receiver in the game, and penning what might be the best season in history for a receiver. You've got Leonard Williams, who, was definitely always second fiddle to Dexter Lawrence or someone else. And while he was a high pick in the draft, he was also made expendable by the Giants and acquired. And even last year, when he was playing as well as he played, he didn't make the Pro Bowl. You realize that Leonard Williams didn't make the Pro Bowl last year. He didn't make the All-Pro. He absolutely continually gets underestimated and overlooked. You can keep going. Byron Murphy. Wow, he wasn't worth a first-round pick. Ernest Jones, traded twice in 1 year. Kobe Bryant, bust. After his rookie year as a nickel, he can't play nickel. Now he's at safety. Julian Love. What is he? Is he a corner? Is he a safety? Is he a special teams guy? You know, you can just keep going through all of these guys. Abe Lucas was left for dead by the Seahawks fan base for the most part. Uchenna Nwosu, this guy can't stay healthy. Get him out of here, like from the Seahawks fan base. So all of these guys, it's different than the 2013 LOB kind of group that all were low picks or undrafted free agents for the most part and had this massive chip on their shoulder. This team's not a chip on their shoulder kind of team. They're a little bit more modern. They're a little bit more current performance psychology, which is don't get motivated by extrinsic motivators. You know, it's much more powerful and reliable to be motivated by intrinsic things that come from within and that you can control. And so at least outwardly, they don't have the same fire that is fueled by wanting to prove the doubters wrong. That's just not necessarily the way that they're wired. But there is this aspect of they do want to prove themselves right and show what they're capable of. And there's a wholesome connection in this team that, look, I wasn't in the locker room for those LOB years or the 2005 era Holmgren years. But this team, like watching them in the locker room, watching them how they interact with each other across position groups, across vets and rookies, across all of it, it just feels so much more like a brotherhood than I think almost any other team's going to be able to replicate. So that's going to serve them well. I think that's been the point, is that during those moments of adversity, being able to turn back to those connections that you've built over time. So I see there's some chats coming in. Luckily I've set this up so I can look at chats as well as hold the little camera here. So it sounds like, let me double check this. It sounds like we've got word on Michael Williams. Let me just double check this. Well, I'm not seeing it quite yet. Someone said Michael Williams tore his ACL. That's what we heard yesterday. I have not heard anything new. So let me just check a couple of my go-to accounts for that kind of news. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything new there yet. So I'm not gonna do that. I do see we have a couple super chats. I can get to those today. So we got one from Bryant, who has become a new YouTube member. Welcome to the party, man. Appreciate you joining the crew. Apologies again for last night that I like on the phone. I just am not able to get to super chats. But Corey Coleman, longtime member, says Sam's post-game interview gave a look at the makeup of the team. Quote, "It's not about me," almost made my inner fan tear up. Thanks for all you do, Brian. Well, thank you, Corey. Appreciate you, dude. Looks like we got another super chat. Smokehawk. How does this defense rank in pressure historically? They always seem to be in the backfield. I don't know how they rank historically. They're not even number one this year. But one of the things I'm going to look at a little bit later today is I think they're one of only two teams in the NFL that are top 5 in pressure rate allowed on offense and pressure rate created on defense. The other team, the Denver Broncos. So who knows? Maybe we're headed towards a Super Bowl rematch and we can make the Broncos eat it again. I wouldn't mind sending that fan base back into a tailspin. That would be fun. So yeah, they're creating pressure. They have been getting sacks more and more. They could have had 3 or 4 more sacks yesterday, but kudos to Jaden Daniels for getting out of some of those. Derek Hall, man, he came so close to getting his first sack. Jaden Daniels ran right through his hands. That's too bad. But yeah, this team pretty much every week, you can count on the front four dominating. You can count on them rushing 4 and still getting pressure. You can count on great coverage. I'm telling you, Tariq Woolen had a great game yesterday. I will continue to have the same take I've had since before this season, which is this team is at its best when he's part of it and playing well. Almost had a pick last night, had a great tackle. I like Tariq Woolen. I would like him to be here, but we'll see in the next 24 hours whether he will be here the rest of this season. And then offensively, Clint Kubiak, huge kudos to him, because what he did yesterday was totally break tendency. I wrote about this in my hawkblogger.com morning after column. He had the highest percentage of 11 personnel usage in the first half last night than he had all season. In a game where they lost their number 2 receiver beforehand, Cooper Kupp was going to be inactive, and you're going to have Cody White. You also were without Derek Young and Jake Bobo. So 3 of your top 5 receivers were not going to play. You are the number 1 12 personnel team in the NFL by EPA. They're great on run, great on pass. Of course, it makes sense that you would lean into that. You'd lean into Robbie Oots coming back and run a bunch of 21 personnel with 2 backs. But no, he says, screw that. We're going to go 3 receiver at a higher rate than any other first half in the entire season. And we're going to absolutely cook you. We're going to cook you with JSN because he is essentially the Human Torch. Like, nobody can get close to that guy without getting burned. And then we're going to light you up with Torrey Horton, who is among the leaders in touchdowns as a rookie. He's got 6 now, I believe, if you include his punt return for the touchdown. We're going to cook you with Cody White, his first touchdown as a NFL player. And really happy for Cody. Like, the guy works his tail off. He's one of the, when people say like the last guy off the field, Cody White literally almost every time I've seen has been the last guy off the field, catching balls on the jugs machine. That guy's wanted this so bad for so long. So I'm really happy for him about it. But also, how many times do you see players make the catch he made and then stumble and fall? And he was there. He almost got out in front, but a great athletic play there to keep his feet and finish the play all the way to the end zone. It's great. And then you throw on top of that Elijah Arroyo just absolutely looking as smooth as silk on his first touchdown of his career. And now this narrative of, oh, well, the Seahawks are a heavy personnel team that passes out of it, which Greg Olson's tweeting about like he's the first person to understand that, which, you know what? Whatever. But and there are also people are going to say, oh, they're so reliant on JSN. Really? I mean, yes, you never would be better off without JSN. There's no question about that. But you look at this team now and you're a defensive coordinator, you're like, okay, well, we're gonna start to take away the pass and we're gonna leave guys in coverage. Well, guess what? The run game started to look okay last night. Ken Walker, even Zach Charbonnet, like got some plays and there was some movement. All right, well, we're gonna take away JSN. We're gonna cheat as much coverage his way as possible. Okay, you sure? Did you see what Torrey Horton did in that game? Do you really feel good about that matchup? I will tell you, all the way back to the Steelers game, week 2, before Torrey Horton had done anything, really, I talked to people in and around the Steelers organization, and they said the guy that they were worried about was Torrey Horton, who, by the way, in that game burned them for his first touchdown. So I think teams know that Torrey Horton is a tough cover and a problem. And even if you figure out how to stop those two, well, guess what? AJ Barner, Elijah Arroyo, they aren't easy to deal with either. And Cody White's a totally capable receiver. I mean, he's not. Sorry, I'm getting bugs all over me all of a sudden. He's not necessarily a top flight player, but he's talented. I don't think that he's a guy that you hate having out there. So all of that, all of that's pretty tough to deal with. And then everyone's focused on the right guard, and I get it, man. We've talked about that a ton with Anthony Bradford. But guess who had an 80 pass block grade last night? Anthony Bradford. And if your biggest thing is your right guard is a problem, I'm sorry, that's just not that big of a problem relative to what most teams are dealing with. There's a reason the Eagles first had to try to get Zadarius Smith to play, who then retired at edge. Then it got Brandon Graham to come out of retirement, like 70,000 years old. And then just traded a third-round pick to Miami for Jalen Phillips, the edge rusher. Their pass rush is not that good. It's just not. And there's a reason they traded for Jair Alexander and why they traded for Michael Carter, because they've got problems on that defense. Now, maybe all those trades will work out and the Eagles will start being a Titanic team again, but they haven't been so far. And guess what? Their offensive line has problems. Their guard play has not been as great. So, I think the only team I look at and I'm like, I mean, look at the Packers. Everyone was like, they're a Super Bowl favorite now that they got Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a non-factor yesterday against the Panthers. And you can have all the Micah Parsons you want, but if Jordan Love's going to play the way he's playing, good luck, man. I don't know how far you can get. How many playoff games has he won? So you can kind of go around the groups, and there's flaws in a lot of these teams. The only two teams that I really look at and I don't see a clear flaw is the Seahawks and the Rams. And yes, I can point to things that are similar to the Anthony Bradford situation on the Rams. Their right tackle position has been pretty bad this year. But I mean, it's a nit to pick if you're talking about one offensive lineman that you have to deal with. So yeah, I think the Seahawks are sitting pretty. And as far as the trade deadline goes, Mike McDonald did not douse any flames on his show with Brock and Salk this morning. John Schneider poured some fuel on the fire yesterday in his pregame comments, saying that they're going to be in it. All signs are that they're going to try. Now, what they're going to do, who knows? But they're going to try. And I mentioned before the Ernest Jones update. Like, really isn't one. I did not hear Mike McDonald give any update on Ernest Jones in the interview with Brock and Salk. They taped it very early in the morning. It was 5 a.m. Pacific time. So I just don't think he has much. Mike McDonald will have his 3:30 press conference later today. And we'll find out a little bit more. I wouldn't expect us to find out a lot. I'm guessing Mike McDonald will say something like, we're waiting to get more information. We'll see what happens. Maybe he'll give us an indication of whether they're hoping he practices this week or not. But what we heard last night was this isn't a season-ending thing or anything like that. It might be something where he misses some time, but they just don't know yet. So we just have to wait and watch. But it does not sound, at least right now, catastrophic. I'm going to go and check just to see if there's any new news. Interesting. Kevin Stefanski of the Browns has given play calling duties to offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing I'm not seeing anything that seems that worthy of discussion, at least on okay. Okay, so new tweet from Aaron Schatz, who is the creator of DVOA. He says, after last night's dominant victory, Seahawks now 4th in DVOA through 8 games since 1978. Yes, the table also has the Colts from last week. They're now 3rd behind the Rams. We'll be writing tomorrow about the Seahawks gap between DVOA and EPA. So just to make sure it's clear, the Seahawks are the 4th best DVOA team through 8 weeks in the history, well, since 1978 of DVOA. Additionally, I wrote about this. The Seahawks have the highest point differential of any Seahawks team in franchise history through 8 games, 1 point more than the 2013 squad. The 3rd place team is the 2005 squad. So, yeah, you're doing things that Super Bowl teams do. That's where the Seahawks are right now. So, if you haven't already, give the show a like and click subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. We got to our 500th review. I really, really appreciate it, guys. That's cool to see, and it's certainly something I try to look at every day just to give me a little extra fuel. Funny tweet here from our friend Mike Sando, who observes 2025 use of 5th-round picks. The Commanders used their 5th-round pick to trade for 29-year-old Deebo Samuel. The Seahawks used their 5th-round pick, or one of them, to draft 22-year-old receiver Torrey Horton. That's what I'm saying. I did not get the Commanders offseason. I'm not going to go on another rant about it, but if I was a Commanders fan, I would have been roasting Adam Peters all offseason. Like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? All right. So, a couple things here. If you haven't already gone to SimplySeattle.com, make sure you do it. Use code HawkBlogger15. Get your favorite new Lucky Seahawks gear, hat, shirt, sweatshirt, beanie, like whatever you're looking for. Now's the time to get it. Code HawkBlogger15 will get it for you. 15% off. Make sure you take advantage of that. Go to jkboots.com/hawkblogger. Get a great deal. You have to put that into your browser, jkboots.com/hawkblogger, to get the coupon code, to get the special deal on the best boots you'll ever own. Made in the state of Washington, family-owned company. They're really, really great. I saw someone got a pair the other day. Loved them. Be the next person. Give them to somebody. Buy them for yourself. They are incredibly special. Download the Sleeper app if you haven't already. Make sure you use it to keep all your fantasy stuff up to date, talk with friends, follow all the latest news about your favorite teams. And if you use promo code Hawks, you will get up to $100 off your match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Let me check one thing. I'm going to see if it's if I've got an update yet. Okay. So I am going to put this in chat. Let's see if this works. So we have got the information. If you want to join the entire Real Hawk Talk crew in Nashville, we are doing a special VIP only, ticketed only event. I'm going to paste the sorry, I'm trying to do so many things here with one hand here. Nashville. Okay. I just pasted it into chat. Whoops, did that work? There we go. And I'm going to pin it to chat. And there we go. All right. So you guys let me know if this works. But we are going to be at I think the FanDuel, or I don't know. It's all in there. I should look at it before I say anything. Okay, the DraftKings Sports and Social in Nashville is the bar we're going to be at. We have a special VIP lounge. We're going to do a live show there. It's going to go on from 8 to 10 p.m. in Nashville, which is 5 o'clock Pacific time, so not that late. Evan's going to be there. Jeff's going to be there. Josh, Dana, Nathan, Derek, like everybody's pretty much going to be there. And we'll do the live show for the first hour. The tickets that you buy, I think they're $40. You get access to the lounge. It comes with a free drink. Also, if you want to get pictures with anybody, you get to join us. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's a really, really cool space. I will put some more pictures on and share with you guys other places about it. But there's only space for, I think, about 50 people. So don't wait to get your tickets. This is one you're going to want to get as soon as possible. If you're planning on being there, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be an experience that I know we're going to all enjoy. And let's hope that's the game after the Rams game. It could be it could be really celebratory or really depressing. One way or the other, we're going to be able to support each other through it. So if you aren't going to Nashville, why not, man? It is. I've never been, but Nashville's got all this like music, great bar scene, a lot of fun. And you're going to go and then watch the Seahawks play a game that you hope they should win. It's a great, great game to go to. That's why all of us are going to be there. We picked it before the season. It was the number one place we all wanted to go. So I think there's still a chance for you to make plans to go see that game if you want. So come there, buy tickets, and join us, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Let me see if there's any new super chats or questions that I have not addressed before I keep going. It looks like there are some new super chats. Okay. This comes from Bradley. Bradley says, what's the all-in dream trade we could make? What do you think John Schneider's willing to give up? You know, I don't know that there's an all-in trade to make. I'll tell you this. If the Seahawks had traded a third-round pick for Jalen Phillips, I would have been upset. Honestly, I wouldn't have been upset's probably too strong. I would not have liked that deal. I think Jalen Phillips is not significantly different than the edge rushers that the Seahawks are currently have. Does he have higher upside? Maybe. Is he in the Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett's, Trey Hendrickson mode of maybe like total game changer? No, he's just not. He's not. He's 26 years old, but he's also been injured a lot. Last year of his deal, I just think a third round pick is too much. So I think those are the levels of guys that are out there. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau's, I think, young enough that he's got some upside. And if you were to do a swap where you gave up Boye Mafe and got back Kayvon Thibodeau, I wouldn't hate that. Because maybe he just has a little bit more to him than Boye. But I don't hate where they are with their edge team. Like, as far as the guys that they could get. Now, if they get Trey Hendrickson, would I be super excited? If they give up a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson, I don't think that's a good deal. I don't think that's a good deal. Now, would I be kind of intrigued to see it? You better believe it. I would actually probably be more forgiving about a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson than I would be about a third-round pick for Jalen Phillips, because you're just moving the chairs around the table when you acquire a guy like Jalen Phillips. Trey Hendrickson has the potential to be a game changer. Like he can change the way that your defense performs and the ceiling. I'm not sure Jalen Phillips is a true ceiling raising player. And so if you're going, like, maybe that could be a guy you go for. But words coming out today, Diana Rossini saying, oh, well, the Bengals are still expecting a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson. Well, one, it's interesting that they're expecting anything because the word was that they're not going to trade him. Two, like, we'll see. We'll see. Now, if the 49ers, who made a good trade for Keon White, if they want to go all in and trade a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson, I kind of say go for it, because I think that team is limited no matter what. I think they're going to be good. I don't think I don't think they're a bad team. Like people get this twisted a little bit. I don't think the 49ers are like dead in the water. I think they're going to continue to win games. I think they're going to be trouble for someone in the playoffs. But I still feel like the Seahawks outclass that team. And the amount of 49ers fans that cope about the way the Seahawks are playing by talking about week 1 is hilarious, because that week 1 game, I mean, anyone that's a Seahawks fan knows how little that resembled the offense that they've run the rest of the year. But I digress. I'm not going to get into a 49ers rant. So, I think it would be pretty helpful for the Seahawks if the 49ers spent more draft capital in the future to get a guy that will not help them win a Super Bowl this year. I think I don't know if it's an all-in move, but I still think the most helpful move that you could potentially make would be at guard. I am probably the most accepting of the state of the Seahawks offensive line of fan base and of analysts as well. I still feel like you'd probably be better off having some veteran depth, even if Anthony Bradford ends up being your starting guard. So, that would be one way. That would be one way to do it. I don't know. I don't know that there's another name for me that really people are like, oh, what about Minkah Fitzpatrick? I'm like, I don't know. He's going to end up being a backup for you once Julian Love comes back to health. Ty Okada is playing really, really well. Is it worth giving up draft capital to get Minkah Fitzpatrick? I don't know. So, like, I personally don't know that I see a home run all-in move. If they can trade a 6th-round pick for Kevin Zeitler, or, you know, a 5th-round pick for Wyatt Teller or something like that, fine. Go for it. But I don't know that there's any like let's really go quote all in that I would be a big fan of. All right. Vince Ochoa has been a member for 14 months. Thanks for the loyalty, Vince. He says, looks like they took your advice on the barnyard. Yes. I don't know if they took my advice, but I don't care. They did it. And the first time was like, wait a second, why they didn't even come close to setting up properly before they false started on that. That was annoying. But then at the goal line, easy pickings, right? So stop being stupid and just be yourselves, which is a really smart coaching staff that does the right thing most of the time. All right, next one here. This one comes from Bayrod. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Apologies if I'm not. It says, did you ever get an answer on that one celebration is that JSN and other people in the league do as well? No, I have not. So Mike Dugar and I owe that to you guys. We'll try to get an answer on that. Hawks 0, I think, says, if Tavondre Sweat is truly available, would you want the Seahawks to trade for him, or even trade for him, even though that position is already a strength? You know, you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I was a big proponent of getting Tavondre Sweat. I thought he was a really good fit for what Mike McDonald likes to run. He went a lot higher than I expected. He then had a really good rookie year, but is kind of fallen out of favor in Tennessee, partly for the things that made people question him in the first place at University of Texas. His priorities don't seem always straight. He's not always a great team guy. His motor is not always running. I think he could be positively influenced in here, but there's a reason I always liked Byron Murphy more than Tavondre Sweat. So Sweat was the guy that was getting all the attention from draft analysts. I just feel like Murphy is about the business, and he's kind of always been a pro, even as a rookie. And so Sweat, I just worry a little bit about whether he's going to be the right fit. I don't know what you'd have to give up for him. And the other thing is Brandon Peely's playing really good ball. And you got Quentin Bahana on the practice squad behind him. And you have Byron Murphy playing a really good nose tackle. So I I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't hate the move. I like acquiring young talent. I like acquiring in the trenches. I like acquiring a guy that can be a one-man wrecking crew against the run game. And I like acquiring a guy that, if he's got some motivation issues, is going to be part of a defensive line room that is unquestionably the leader of this entire team and has really strong leadership in there that won't tolerate crap. So if they can get enough assurances that he's someone they think can be influenced, then yeah, I wouldn't mind them going after Tavondre Sweat. I think that could be a pretty cool move for the years down the road. But I can absolutely see why they'd have hesitation to do it. All right. I think those were all the super chats. And I think we're gonna probably wrap it there. I'm gonna do some stats at some point. There's so many things to look at with this team and what they just did and what they're doing so far this year. I'll obviously keep an eye out on the trade market, anything that happens there. My flight tonight is already delayed an hour. I woke up this morning and my flight in the evening was already delayed, which is not a good sign. So we'll see how that all ends up. But it's not as easy for me to set up and do a show as it is when I'm home. So if something does break, expect it to take me a little bit of time to get ready for it. Other than that, guys and gals, I hope you have a great Monday, man. It's a fun time to be a Seahawks fan. I hope all you sickos like me, are enjoying this, that you are recognizing all that you've gone through in terms of the lows and the blahs and the just irrelevancy over the last decade, to the point now where this is a team, like, it's okay to put some weight on the ice and step out a little bit further in the middle of that lake, that pond. And we're going to keep kind of inching our way toward the middle and see if we can, if it really hold all of us, because I think the bandwagon's growing. I know for a fact, because I could see the numbers, that the Mariners' run, as great as it was, certainly took people away from the Seahawks' attention. And I think the pain of the Mariners' exit took some time for people to get over. But I think the timing of that game last night and the way that game played out, I think the stadium's going to be rocking this coming Sunday when the Cardinals come to town. And you're going to start feeling a different energy around the city about this team. And if they can win that game against the Cardinals, which I really hope and expect them to, my goodness, that game against the Rams, it's going to be must see. It's going to be the game of the year, as far as I'm concerned. It may be one of those things where it's better than what you get in the playoffs. It may be better than the Super Bowl. Like, it might be the game of the year. We'll just have to see. Maybe it won't, but it has the potential to be that. So with that, have a great rest of your Monday. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe, and enjoy, hopefully, this episode of Hawk Blogger Mornings. Until the next time, take care.